Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Glenn Tan speaking. This time we're going to talk about the GMV5 Home Controller. This presentation divided into these two parts. First, I will talk about how to install the wire controller, and after that is the detail for the parameter checking and setting. This table is the summary of all the wire controller for GMV5 Home series. This one is the model, and here is the appearance for this all wire controller, just for your reference. And let's focus on the first one, SK46. It is the basic one, and it is completely the same as the GMV heat pump. And the next is this XE70. This is the higher level or higher grade, just compare with our basic one. What it can do is first it can individual control the lower of the cassette tie, and also it has the multi timers. And also for this one, it is available to connect with ERV plus Dexcoil series. And the next is SK55. And for this one, it is touch screen, and also the same as the previous one, which is this one. We put all the command and also the parameter, what is the meaning, directly on the screen. So on site, you don't need to memorize the codes for different functions and for different parameter. We put the meaning directly on the screen. And the next is the SK79. This one, it is a small size. Just compare with the SK46, the basic one. You can just compare the dimension. This one. And the next is it has the key card function, which means just like you stay in hotel, when you insert the key card, then the indoor unit can operate. And the next will be the SK57. For this one, it is special for the hot water generator, which is special for the GMV5 Home series. And the dimension is the same as the previous one. And this is what we need to focus for this presentation. And the last is this LE60. And here is the dimension. And this is the actually the dry contactor, and also it has the key card function, which means if you would like to apply the key card or to connect with the dry contactor, you can just use this one to, for example, to together with the SK46. Then also the same, the function is the key card, which is the same as this SK79, and also it has the dry contactor. Also just similar, when you stay in hotel, you just open the window of the room, then this indoor unit can automatically turn off. Then you can apply this one. Let's focus on the hot generator SK57, this one. And here is the screen, and this is the buttons. On the screen there are 32 icons total, and 8 buttons. And as for the screen, it will here, and this is for the mood, and here is for different functions, and this is the timer zone, and here is the water volume amount, but there is no detector, so this is reserved. And here is the detail setting temperature, and also here also it is reserved. And for the different meaning, you can refer to the owner's manual of this wire controller. We all listed the detailed meaning of it, and here I just need to explain the complicated. And as for how to do the wiring, we support one wire controller to connect one hot water generator. This generator including the hydro box and the converter. And the wiring is also very easy. You can find it. This is the RO unit, and this is the hot water generator. They connected with D1, D2. So this is the wire controller SK57. You need to connect to the H1, H2 here. And also we support 2-wire controller to control 1 hot water generator, and the wiring just compare with this one is these two SK57. They parallel connected to this H1, H2. And of course you need to select which one is the master. Next is we support 1-wire controller to control mounted, which is 2 hot water generator. And the wiring is easy, just follow this one, which is wire controller to H1, H2, and also this first hot water generator to connect to next on H1, H2. Also set on P14 to tell the system you just use 1-wire controller to control, in this case it is 2 hot water generator. And last is the most complicated, which is we use 2-wire controller to control this 2 hot water generator. And the wiring is this 2-wire controller parallel connected to the H1, H2, and from here series connected from the first one to the next one. And also for this one, and also you need to set on P13 to tell the system which is the slave wire controller, and also set on P14 to tell the system you group control this 2 hot water generator. For the detail how to control, first is under any status which no other operation, you can press this one. Then the wire controller can switch from the domestic hot water mode to the floor heating mode. And currently we just support these 2 modes. For the other, which is the air conditioning, which also display here, it is not available. First, we will focus on the domestic hot water mode. And when you press this button to ensure this icon display, and then you can find it is still off. Then you can press this on off button, then the system will turn on, and also this function will be activated. This is heating water, and also press here again to turn it off. During the DHW on status, when you press this button, the system will change or switch from these 3 basic operating mode, which is standard, preset, and night hot water mode. And I will explain what is the difference between these 3. And the first is the standard, which is according to your setting temperature, the system will heating up the DHW immediately. And the preset hot water mode, that is you need to set a timer. For example, you would like to use the DHW at 6 p.m. and then the system will turn on the compressor to heating up the DHW before your preset time. For example, it is 6 p.m. then it's from 2 to 6 p.m. then the system will turn on to heating up the DHW to ensure you can use the DHW at 6 p.m. and that is preset mode. And the next is the night hot water mode. That is the heating time is fixed at the 0 to 6 a.m. and also according to your setting temperature, the system will heating up the DHW, can ensure you have the DHW at when you wake up, which is at the morning. And also for this tool, it can repeat every day. Sunflower function. For this function is to hire the system efficiency, as we know that the heat pump to heating up the DHW, if the outdoor ambient temperature is higher, the efficiency it can be higher. So just focus on this principle, and then the system you can find it will recall this curve. This curve is according to the daytime, then it will recall the outdoor ambient temperature, and the system only work or heating up the DHW during this area, which means the outdoor ambient is high, just compare with this part. And this is higher, that means the system efficiency, it can be higher. And on the controller, just press this function and select to activate this sunflower. Then you can press this enter. And also this sunflower function is only activated only in standard hot water mode. Auto temperature setting of water heating. In this function, we put all the judgment or the setting target of the DHW to the system, and the system will, according to the outdoor ambient temperature, to automatically adjust the target. And for that, you don't need to adjust the temperature setting of the DHW frequently to save your time. And for example, on this graph, we already fixed the outdoor ambient, which is the lower limit and the upper limit. And also for the water out temperature, already fixed the upper and lower limit. Then we can get this curve. And according to this one, for example, today, if we detected the outdoor ambient is 20 degrees, so we will automatically get the target to be 48 degrees. This can avoid the user to change or to set the target temperature frequently. And also here is how to activate this one. Just use this function to select, make this blinking, and then press this enter to confirm. This infection operation mode. This mode is just to heating up the DHW to make it clean. And the reason already explained here why we can heating up to max 70 to make it clean, to kill or to eliminate the inside bacteria and the impurities. And on the system, what you can set is the max heating up temperature and when to do it. This is lead time, which is in advance. And how long you would like to do it again on this P55 and P54. And here is this password is how to change these three, including the temperature and when to do it. First is to activate, use this function to make it blink and then to change the target temperature. After that, use the timer to change when you would like to make it to be ready. And the system will in advance to heating up the DHW to this your setting temperature. And then make it confirm. Just ensure this icon display is okay. Rapid water heating. For this one is you need to get the hot water immediately or as soon as possible. So at that time we need to heating it up fast, which is rapid. What we can do is we heating it up with this outdoor unit and also the water 10E heater. Then you can get the hot water as soon as possible. And here is how to activate. Just activate this from here and select to this one and enter to confirm. Preset hot water mode. For this mode is just to heating up the DHW in advance. So you need to tell the system what is the temperature you need and also what time you would line the DHW to be ready. So in how to control is during the on, which is this to be on, and then press this mode button to select it display this icon, and then use this timer to tell the system at what time you would like to change this timer, and also before that you can change the setting temperature. And the system will in advance 1 to 4 hours to heating up the DHW until it can get to your target. Next, we will go to the floor heating, and also here is similar to the DHW when you did use this button to switch to this floor heating, then also on, off, off, on. Auto temperature heating of floor heating, and for this one is similar to the DHW auto temperature setting. We put all the target to the system, and also the system according to the outdoor ambient temperature to set the target. Also you can find it. If today it detected the outdoor ambient is 10, then it can automatically get the target to be 35. And how to activate is also very easy. First is just ensure the system in on at floor heating, and then use this function to make this icon display, and then press this one to make it to be confirmed. Rapid floor heating. For this one, similar to the DHW, this time we just use the outdoor unit and this built-in e-heater to work together to heating up the water as soon as possible. Holiday or absent setting of floor heating. This function, the purpose of this one is just to ensure your room from frozen, which is when you are not at home for a long time, but the system can still operate to avoid your room from frozen, and which is to ensure the water out to be 25. Then we can keep your room at about 8 degrees. And just circulate the water, and also we can offer the hot gas to the hydro box. As for other functions, first we will talk about clean. For this one, there are two purposes of it. First is during the commissioning stage, we need to make all the air inside the water system to remove, which is just to circulate or to turn on the built-in water pump. And the other is just to clean the water system. As we know that the water system will always generate the water scale, and to clean it we need to circulate the water, which is you need to use the cleaner inside to clean the water scale. And how to activate is just press this one in off state, long press for 5 seconds until it displays this clean. Next will be the shield function. The shield, that means to stop or to not allow the setting from the wire controller SK57, which it can shield from the central controller or the remote monitoring software. We offer you this file to shield the setting from the wire controller. And here I just display the example from the central controller from this advanced setting. Then you can go to activate the shield function. And on the SK57, when it is shield, it will display this icon. For the second part, we will talk about how to check the parameter and set the parameter. And follow this one. You can check the parameter, which is just press this function for 5 seconds. And then it will display this one. And how to set it is also just follow this, which is press function for 5 seconds, then enter this one, which is this, and press again, then we will go to this P code. C is for customer, P is for the specialist. This is for the customer parameter checking, and according to the code, which is for the C, initial C, and here is the detailed meaning. You can tell your customer the detailed meaning of it, because if you are not on site, you can tell them to change it, and also the customer can change it itself. This will not affect the system operation. And for example, you can tell them to check the water temperature, then just choose to be C21. Then it will display what is the temperature it is on the timer zone. As for the P initial code, that is for specialist. You can also find it according to the codes. We will have different functions. And for this one, you can find that it will affect the system operation, which means for this P code, or how to enter it, you should not tell your customer. And this is all affect the system operation. And for example, this P46 is whether you need to keep your domestic hot water temperature during standby. And if standby, you make it to be allowed, then you need to set the temperature of it. And if you're not allowed, and the system will only heating up to your setting temperature, and then that's all. And also here is at what temperature you need to set or need to tell the system for the sunflower function. And also they're including the corrected value of the DHW temperature. This is the second page of the P codes. And also the detailed meaning, you can just refer to the name so you can get its idea. And here I will explain first is the P56. This is the water tank heater, how it works in DHW, and which means when the water temperature of the DHW is higher than the upper limit of the heat pump, then after that it will rely only on the water tank heater. And the other case is we find that the heating up speed of the DHW is too slow, and then we also will turn on this heater to help to heating up the DHW. P73 is whether you allow or not the 3D heating. Just if you would like this function, please ensure it is on. P80, this is how to control the heater of the hydro box and in floor heating. And even you set it as off, then there is an anti-frozen function. It still works. Don't worry over it. And the last is the P81. You can find that we already changed it to be the up max to be 55, which means for this one it is available to connect with the radiator. And for 52, for this radiator, the temperature is still too low, which is not that good. So we reverse it to be 55. And that is the highest setting temperature of the water out for floor heating. Next, I will explain what is auto heat recovery and how it works. And for this auto heat recovery, that is only works in the in-dot unit cooling. So in this case, you can find it. This is the out-dot unit. This is the converter. Here is the water tank. And in this case, there are 3 in-dot units. For example, if this in-dot unit required cooling, for example, this 2, then we need to send the liquid to this 2 in-dot unit, and then after it's banded, it can do cooling, and then we can collect the gas refrigerant back to the out-dot unit to release heat. In-dot unit absorb heat, out-dot unit release heat. And the auto heat recovery, that means we can make the refrigerant to release heat not only from the out-dot unit, but also we can make it to the water, which is to heating up the DHW. That means even there is no require for the DHW, but we can still send a partial refrigerant to heating it up. Even there is no DHW requirement. That means you can get this free DHW. And there are 3 just like this. And there are 3 conditions. First is this in-dot unit only the in-dot unit is in cooling mode, and then the P50A make it to be 0 is to allow this function. And the last is this DHW temperature, which is inside this one within the auto heat recovery range, which is in P59. You need to also need to set it. And for this one, if the DHW temperature higher than this one, it is not allowed to operate in this auto heat recovery because it will lower the cooling efficiency. And here, the cooling plus DHW, it is not auto heat recovery, it is deliberate heat recovery. Okay. The last, we will go to the engineering parameter setting method. You can just follow this password to enter this P code, and on that there is the table for this 4, which is to set the priority sequence. And this P48, you can find it. We can set the first priority for which one, and either it's for the heating or for the DHW or for the floor heating. It is allowed to set. And the default sequence is just follow this. First is the heating, after that DHW, and the floor heating is last. So 00 is the same as 01. The next will be go to the highest domestic hot water, which is for the heat pump, and our default value is 55, and so in this case, if higher than 55, it's only heating up by the water tank heater. And P60 is for the water tank volume, and the P79 is to set the floor heating valve linkage setting, which is to turn on or turn off the floor heating performer, the valve, by this Y controller. So you need to activate the P79, and the detail setting you can refer to the installation PowerPoint to do it. That's all for the GMV5 Home Series controller. If you still have any questions, just feel free to contact me on this email address.